Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Dana Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hari Bol to Vishwanath Prabhu and Pawan Prabhuji for always being there and leading the chanting this morning. Okay, let's start with our prayers. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, so yes, last week we were reciting the wonderful prayer by Srinarottama Das Thakur about the significance of this human form of life and what is the purpose of this human form of life. And all these acharyas coming in our disciplic succession are giving us these important instructions of how to perfect our life. Srila Prabhupada is telling us that it is possible to perfect our life and realize our eternal identity, our constitutional position, and go back home, back to Godhead in this very lifetime. So we are ever grateful to our most exalted Guru Parampara for giving us this holy name, the nectar of the holy name by which we can realize our true identity. So how grateful we should be to our Guru Parampara. And I was recently just other day I didn't know what prayer we will sing today. I was just reflecting because we just came back late from Columbus yesterday night. But this prayer I had recently heard from one of my Guru Maharaj disciple, Sannyasi disciple, is known as Bhakti Ashray Vaishnava Maharaj, and it signifies the importance and our gratitude to our Guru Parampara. And since Srila Prabhupada, we are kind of recapping, and Prabhupada, as we always know, was ever grateful. He was our ever well-wisher, and he was ever grateful to his predecessor Acharyas, his Guru Maharaj, and the Guru Parampara. So, on that mood, let's sing this beautiful prayer this week. Let me share my screen. Posted the link in the chat. So, this is a beautiful prayer by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, who is the spiritual master, Guru Maharaj of Srila Prabhupada, of Srila Prabhupada. And yeah, we have been reading about Bhakti Siddhanta also in Prabhupada Leela Amrit. So this is a very nice, beautiful prayer, on the gratitude for Guru Parampara. So let's sing this. And this we can sing in the same melody as Rek Vrindavana Ramya Sthana. So I'll sing. Krishna hoite chaturmukha hoy Krishna sevunmukha Brahma hoite naradira mati Narada hoite vyasa madhva kohi vyasa dasa Purna pragya padmanabhagati Narahari Madhava Vamshi Akshobhya Paramahamse Shishya Boli Angikara Kore Akshobhira Shishya Jaya Tirthaname Parichaya Taradasi Jnana Sindhu Tore Taha hoite dayanidhi तारादास विद्यानिधि राजेन्द्र होइलो ताहाइते ताहार किङ्कर जय धर्मनामे परिचय परम्परा जानो भालो मते जय धर्म दासी ख्याति श्री पुरुषोत्तम जति ताहाइते ब्राह्मण्य तीर्थसूरी व्यासतीर्थ तारदास लक्ष्मीपति व्यासदास ताहाइते माधवेन्द्र पुरी माधवेन्द्र पुरी बड़ शिष्य बड़ श्रीश्वर नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत विभु ईश्वर पुरी के धन्य कोरिलेन श्री चैतन्य जगद गुरु गौर महाप्रभु महाप्रभु श्री चैतन्य राधा कृष्ण नहीं अन्य रूपनुग जनेर जीवन विश्वम्भर प्रियंकर श्री स्वरूप दामोदर श्री गोस्वामी रूप सनातन रूप प्रिय महाजन जीव रघुनाथ हय तारा प्रिय कवि कृष्ण दास कृष्ण दास प्रिय बड़ नरोत्तम सेवा पर जार पद विश्वनाथ आश विश्वनाथ भक्त साथ बलदेव जगन्नाथ तारा प्रिय श्री भक्ति विनोद महाभागवत बड़ श्री गौर किशोर बड़ा हरि भजन तेजारा मोद इहार परमहंस गौरंगेर निज वंश तादेर चरणे मम गति आमी सेवा उदासीन नामे ते त्रिदंडी दीना शील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती श्रीवर्षभानवी वड़ सदा सेव्य सेवा पार ताहार दयित दास नाम तारा प्रधान प्रचारको श्री भक्ति वेदांत नामो पतित जनिते दोया धाम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय श्री भक्त सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज की जय जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय Okay, we'll read the translation. Anybody who would like to take up the service of reading the translation?
I can read Prabhuji. Oh,
Hare
Shreya
Krishna.
can go ahead. It's
No, go ahead.
Yes, Kishori Radha Mataji. Yeah, please.
in the beginning of creation, the science of devotional service was received by the four-headed Brahma from the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Devarshi Narada's understanding of this divine science was obtained from Brahma. The great sage Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, who was empowered to compile the Vedic literatures, became a disciple of Devarshi Narada. Sripad Madhvacharya, the founder of the Suddha Dvaita school of Vedanta philosophy, who visited Vyasadeva at Badarik Ashrama in the 13th century to learn from him Vedanta philosophy, calls himself a servant of Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Purna Prajna Tirtha Madhava is the guru and sole refuge of Padmanabha Tirtha. The two other principal disciples of Madhva are Nrihari Tirtha and Madhva Tirtha. Madhava Tirtha accepted the great Paramahamsa Akshobhya Tirtha as a disciple. The principal disciple of Akshobhya Tirtha was known as Jayatirtha. Jayatirtha's service was for his disciple Jnana Sindhu. Dayanidhi received the science of devotional service from Jnana Sindhu, and the servant of Dayanidhi was Vidyanidhi. Vidyadhiraja Tirtha. Rajendra Tirtha became a disciple of Vidyadhiraja Tirtha. Rajendra Tirtha's servant was known as Jayadharma or Vijayadhiraja Tirtha. In this way, you should properly understand this disciplic succession. The great sannyasi Sri Purushottama Tirtha received his knowledge in the service of his guru, Vijayadhiraja Tirtha, Jayadharma. The principal disciple of Purushottama Tirtha was Subramana Tirtha. His servant was the great Vyasa Tirtha, Vyasaraya. Vyasa Tirtha's servant was Lakshmipati Tirtha, whose disciple was Madhavendra Puri Goswami. The chief disciple of Madhavendra Puri was Ishvara Puri, and two of his other disciples were the renowned incarnations of Godhead, Sri Nityananda and Advaita Acharya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the spiritual preceptor of all the worlds, made Ishvara Puri greatly fortunate by accepting him as his spiritual master. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya is non-different from Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, and is the very life of those Vaishnavas who follow Sri Rupa Goswami. Sri Swarupa Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami were the givers of great happiness to Vishvambara, Sri Chaitanya. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya, the great souls Jiva Goswami and Raghunatha Das Goswami became very dear to Rupa Goswami. Jiva Goswami was a disciple of Rupa Goswami, and Raghunatha Das Goswami, a disciple of Advaita Acharya's disciple Yadunandana Acharya, was accepted by Rupa and Sanatana as their third brother. Raghunatha Das Goswami's beloved student was Krishnadasa Kaviraj Goswami. Krishnadasa Kaviraj was an intimate friend of Lokanath Goswami. They lived together in Vrindavan and always discussed the topics of Krishna with one another. Lokanath Goswami, a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit, had only one disciple, whose name was Narottama Dasa. Narottama Dasa was always engaged in the service of his guru, and he always engaged himself in the service of his guru's intimate friend. Thus he became very dear to Krishnadasa Kaviraj Goswami. To serve the feet of Narottam Das Thakur was the only desire of Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur, who was the fourth Acharya in disciplic succession from Narottama Das. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur was the Shiksha Guru, instructing spiritual master of Baladev Vidyabhushana to whom he taught the precepts of Srimad Bhagavatam. Jagannatha Das Babaji was a very prominent acharya after Sri Baladev Vidyabhushana and was the beloved Shiksha Guru of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's intimate friend and associate was the eminent Mahabhagavata Sri Gorakishore Das Babaji, whose sole joy was found in Hari Bhajana. These saintly Vaishnavas are all Paramahamsas, or devotees of the highest order, and they are all part of Lord Gauranga's own spiritual family. Their holy feet are my refuge. I have no real interest in devotional services, and I am a poor and lowly Sri Dandi sannyasi named Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. The renowned Sri Varsha Banavi Daita Dasa, the initiated name of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, is always engaged in the service of his spiritual master, Sri Gorakishore Das Babaji. His foremost disciple preacher is Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has spread the message of Lord Chaitanya throughout the world and is thus a reservoir of mercy and compassion for all fallen souls. Hare Krishna. Please forgive my pronunciation of the names.
Thank you, Mataji. It was very beautifully read. You took us all the way into through our Guru Parampara, all the way from the Lord, from Lord Shri Krishna to Brahma to Narada to Vyasa to Madhvacharya. So yes, thank you for helping us trace back this wonderful disciplic succession. Anything else you want to share that you liked from this prayer, Mataji?
Just that it always, it touches my heart when we read that saints and gurus and paramahamsas like Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he's saying, I have no real interest in devotional services, and I am poor and lonely. I can relate to that because I feel like it's only from the mercy of being in the association of devotees that I have interest in devotional service or have relish, or relish chanting the holy name. But to hear that great soul say that, it really just softens my heart. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's a very, very deep realization, and I was smiling because last night we were talking to Amarendra Prabhu after the program, and he made a similar point about how Srila Prabhupada, so he came for us. He's a Paramhamsa, so Prabhupada, and all these acharyas in the Guru Parampara, they are eternal associates of the Lord, right? So in one sense, we look up to them, in that in that identity, they are eternal servants of the Lord. But they come for us, and they come in a human form. Even the Lord, like he was talking about Ramayana yesterday, right? All the sessions series, and he was giving example of even Ram Bhagwan comes as a human, right? And he's teaching in Naralila how to be an ideal person. But he was giving the reference of our Guru Parampara and Srila Prabhupada, and he was saying, even though they are Nityasiddhas, eternal associates of the Lord, but in this world, when they come, they make themselves relatable to us, as humans performing these pastimes. But because would always be in that bhav as Nityasiddha, it will be very unrelatable to us. So, like you rightly said, again, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati here is teaching us through the humility, how to be human and achieve the qualities, the Sadachar of Vaishnav Sadachar. So, yeah, that's a very, 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 very touching point. And yeah, this whole prayer is wonderful because it relates to the Goswamis. And yesterday in the home program, we were singing the glories after the Katha, Hari Katha. He was singing, and we were singing the glories of all the acharyas, all the Goswamis of Vrindavan, and all the deities of Vrindavan, right? And yes, and it's also our very beloved Vishwanath Prabhu is here, and Prabhuji yesterday in the class when he was said Vishwanath as Shivji, he was referencing to Vishwanath Prabhu, or he was at least looking at Vishwanath Prabhu. And yes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in our disciplic succession. Vishwanath also is the name for Lord Shiva, Shivji. And yesterday was Shivaratri, so it was very blissful celebration yesterday in the Columbus Temple. Many devotees from Cincinnati came, and some of you have already been going for multiple days. I think today is the last session that Amarendra Prabhu will be there. but yeah, this whole prayer kind of very nicely connected with that theme. Okay, let's get some nectar from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. So we are continuing chapter. Yesterday, Vishnu Prabhupada was in California. He led this rock mantra dance, and Prabhupada was giving the same message that it doesn't matter who we are, where we are in our journey, what we are, how we can serve the Lord. It's just that you just chant. That's it, right? So that was the message. It doesn't matter. The melody doesn't matter. The tune doesn't matter. Whether you're hippie or a happy or a rich person or a wretched person or an American or whatever you are, whichever body you are in, doesn't matter. So just have to chant, and then we will revive our original consciousness. Okay, let's continue chapter 23. The prize affair. Swamiji's disciples in New York were surprised to find that they could still carry on in his absence. At first, they had been too shy to speak or lead the kirtan, so they had played tapes of Swamiji's kirtans and classes. But when the evenings came and guests attended the temple, the devotees felt compelled to give live classes. Rairam, Brahmananda, Satsvarupa, and Rupanuga took turns giving brief talks and even answering challenging questions, and the devotees found that everything, the chanting, the cooking, the talking, the taking of prasadam, the preaching, could still go on. On January 19, just 3 days after his arrival in San Francisco, Prabhupada had written back to his New York disciples. They were his spiritual children and were very dear to him. He had also wanted to reassure his disciples, whom, after only a few months of training, he was expecting to conduct the Krishna consciousness movement in New York. Srila Prabhupada wrote, I understand that you are feeling my absence. Krishna will give you strength. Physical presence is immaterial. Presence of the transcendental sound received from the spiritual master should be the guidance of life. You may place my pictures on my sitting places, and this will be the source of inspiration for you. So long our kirtan is all right, Prabhupada wrote, there is no difficulty at all. Attempts to purchase a new building, which had gone on smoothly while Prabhupada had been present, had become a great problem as soon as he had left. Shortly after Srila Prabhupada's departure for San Francisco, Brahmananda had given Mr. Price $1,000, and Mr. Price had promised to help the devotees get their building. When Prabhupada heard this, he became perturbed. Prabhupada said, You should not pay even a farthing more than what you have paid. If he wants any more money, you should flatly refuse. Srila Prabhupada had visited the building on Stuyvesant Street, and he wanted it. It was a historical, well-kept aristocratic building and suitable for his New York headquarters. It was worth the $100,000 price. Then Mr. Price told Brahmananda the latest. He had found a wealthy financier, Mr. Hall, who had almost agreed to pay the full $100,000 for the building. When Srila Prabhupada heard about the latest developments, he did not share his disciples' optimism. Srila Prabhupada had also instructed Gargamuni to protect the $10,000 in the bank and never withdraw any sum that would leave a balance of less than 6,000. Srila Prabhupada wrote almost daily to various devotees in New York, but Brahmananda and Satsvarupa were already entangled in the promises Mr. Price had given and went on meeting with him. They would meet with Mr. Price and then ride back to 2nd Avenue on the subway, chanting Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada had done what he could. The boys were foolish, even to the point of not listening to him. But they had raised the money themselves. If, despite his instructions, they lost it, what further help could he give? So he simply went on with his San Francisco preaching and advised the boys in New York also to become convinced of achieving success through Kirtan. Chapter 24, New Jagannath Puri. Srila Prabhupada continued with his kirtans at the park in San Francisco. Prabhupada was the center of attraction. Even his age and dress made him prominent. Whereas the others in the park were mostly young people dressed in denims or various hippie costumes, Prabhupada was 70 and distinctly dressed in saffron robes. After an hour of chanting, Prabhupada stopped the kirtan and addressed the crowd. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is the sound vibration, and it is to be understood that the sound vibration is transcendental. If you want to have knowledge of the absolute truth, the first thing is faith. After speaking 5 minutes, Prabhupada began the kirtan again. As he surveyed the activities in the meadow, he seemed deeply pleased to see the ring of dancers singing all around him, chanting Hare Krishna. Prabhupada started taking weekend cooking classes in which he taught Janaki, Govindadasi, Nandarani, and others the art of cooking for Krishna. He would show how to knead dough, cook chapatis, measure spices in the right palm, and cut vegetables and cook them in ghee with masala. One day on Ekadashi, Swamiji himself was cooking. He was heating something white in a skillet, vigorously stirring and scraping it from the bottom of the pan. Swamiji's whitish, sticky looking preparation was done, and he placed it on the windowsill to cool. Later it will harden, he said, and we can cut it and serve it. Since it tasted simply wonderful, everyone called it simply wonderful. Although Srila Prabhupada had about 25 San Francisco disciples, hardly any were brahmacharis. Pra- Practically the only solid one was Jayananda, who was a little older than the rest. Jayananda worked all day driving a cab, chanting Hare Krishna even while driving. He was known for his serious japa. One day, Malati hurried into Srila Prabhupada's apartment, took a small item out of her shopping bag, and placed it on Prabhupada's desk for his inspection. What is this, Swamiji? Srila Prabhupada looked down and beheld a 3-inch wooden doll with a flat head, a black smiling face, and big round eyes. The figure had stubby, forward jutting arms and a simple green and yellow torso with no visible feet. Srila Prabhupada immediately folded his palms and bowed his head, offering the little figure respects. You have brought Lord Jagannath, Lord of the universe, he said, smiling and bright-eyed. He is Krishna. Srila Prabhupada beamed with pleasure. Prabhupada explained that this was Lord Jagannath, a deity of Krishna, worshipped all over India for thousands of years. Jagannath, he said, is worshipped along with two other deities, his brother Balaram and his sister Subhadra. Excitedly, Malati confirmed that she had seen them and hurried back and bought them from the shop. Srila Prabhupada placed the black-faced, smiling Jagannath on the right. In the center, he placed the smallest figure, Subhadra, and who had a red, smiling mouth and a rectangular black and yellow torso. The third figure, Balaram, with a white, round head, red-rimmed eyes, and a happy red smile, had the forward-jutting arms, like Jagannath, and a blue and yellow base. Prabhupada placed him next to Subhadra. As Prabhupada looked at them together on his desk, he asked if anyone knew how to carve. Shyamsundar said he was a wood sculptor, and Prabhupada asked him to carve 3 foot high copies of the little Jagannath Balram Subhadra. Shyamsundar bought 3 large blocks of hardwood and made the deity forms as explained by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said that Lord Jagannath was so merciful that he could be worshipped in a simple way, mostly by chanting Hare Krishna. Prabhupada set March 26th, the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya, as the day for installing the deities. The devotees would have a big feast and begin worshipping Lord Jagannath. Prabhupada said they would have to build an altar, and he told them how to prepare it. On the scheduled date, Prabhupada watched with pleasure as one person after another took a turn at offering the candle before Lord Jagannath. This was a simple procedure for installing the deity. Srila Prabhupada was confident in his spiritual master's direction and in the scriptures. He had faith that Lord Jagannath was especially merciful to the fallen. He prayed that the Lord of the universe would not be offended by his reception at New Jagannath Puri. Srila Prabhupada explained further. The Bhagavatam has recommended hearing, chanting, thinking, and worshipping. This process, which we just now introduced on the advent of Jagannath Swami, means that now this temple is now completely fixed. So this is the worshipping process. This is called Arati. Prabhupada said 26th March as the day for installing deities. The devotees would have a big feast and begin worshipping Lord Jagannath. On deity installation day, Prabhupada watched with pleasure as everyone offered candle to Lord Jagannath. This was the procedure for installing the deity. So at the end of Kirtan, this Aarti will go on, and then there was distribution of prasadam. Srila Prabhupada spoke into the microphone. Jagannath Swami, Nayana Patagami Bhavatume. Lord Jagannath's presence quickly beautified the temple. Devotees made garlands for him daily. Now the devotees were a family. If they followed his instructions, they would remain strong. If they were sincere, Krishna would help them. Lord Jagannath was present, and the devotees would have to worship him faithfully. They would be purified by chanting Hare Krishna and following their spiritual master's instructions. Prabhupada decided to go back to New York. Srila Prabhupada, the father of two small bands of neophytes, tenderly left one group and headed east, where the other group waited in a different mood, a mood of joyful reception. Hari Bol. Yes, beautiful. Reminds me again of so many things. So yeah, some of the other discussions that happened after the katha yesterday was on these themes that we just read. Again, as Grishamad Prabhu was mentioning, how we can the best form of worship that we can do for our deities, he was saying, is just sit in front of them attentively and chant. So sometimes we have this question of we have so busy lives and how do we serve our deities. So he was answering that question, and he was saying, yes, the best form of worship is just sitting in front of them and chanting. And if we are so inspired, yes, he was also mentioning that we can also, you know through our mind, when when we're doing japa chanting, um, we can offer uh, water, we can offer ghee and yogurt. And so if we want to bathe our deities, we can do that in our mind also while we are doing our japa, right? So that is where that um, famous verse that Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj has penned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which talks about that, Naam Haite, Ek Krishna Naam Kare Sarva Papakshay, Navavida Bhakti Purna Naam Haite Hai, that all the nine limbs of bhakti that we are talking about here, Prabhupada is teaching, chanting, hearing, worshipping the Lord, remembering the Lord, all of those can be done, by the process of simply chanting the holy name. Naam, if we have sincere chanting, then in that chanting we can offer, everything is part of it, right? So so anyway, so he was mentioning the same things. I was reminded of that yes, how Prabhupada is teaching a simple form of worship. But in this day and age, if we are not able to do daily deity worship, daily, bathing our deities, blessing them, just simple things we can do, if we are able to. And if you're not able to do that, then you're just sitting in front of them attentively and chanting is the best form of worship. That's something that he was mentioning. But yeah, this mood of japa that we saw from Jayananda Prabhu, who was one of the older kind of brahmacharis. And yeah, how again, he was instrumental in building the first cart here in America when they did the Rath Yatra under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada. So that's the picture that we still hang along with Srila Prabhupada on the cart of Jagannath during Jagannath Rath Yatra. Um, so yeah, very nice. Okay, anybody else would like to say or share anything for today's discussion?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I'm still wondering what that sweet was. Simply wonderful.
It was simply wonderful. Yes, it was just
Yeah.
simply wonderful. That is how bhakti is. Bhakti is simply wonderful. We don't know, like Mataji, like when Kishore Yadav Mataji was saying, we don't know what is devotional service. We don't have any bhakti, but just, by simply following the instructions of our Guru Parampara, we can
Mhm.
develop that. We can develop that taste. So like that's simply wonderful or simply wonderful. But I think it was
Simply.
made of milk. I think it was kind of a milk sweet. So,
Yeah.
mm,
True, true, Prabhuji. And the installation of deities, Jagannath ji and Subhadra Maya and Balram ji. Um, that was like we read last year in June, July when Jagannath Rath Yatra was going on. Those memory refreshes again. So wonderful to hear that again, and with picture, like we can imagine that how they were doing kirtan while installing and doing aarti and everything. Thank you for the
mm,
wonderful reading, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing. Yes, yeah, these
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
One line attracted me. If they were sincere, Krishna will help them. The sincere is the key word here. And that line really attracted.
Yes, yes. That's all we have. Very true, Prabhuji. That's all we can have.
Sincerity.
We have nothing. We came naked. We came with nothing in our hand. We'll go back nothing with nothing in our hand. The only thing that we'll carry is our sincerity and our Nam Bhajan that we are doing. That is what will go back. And again, it made me smile because whatever you're saying, the same thing. So this conversation was happening yesterday after the Katha. And I was sitting with Naveen Krishna Prabhu at his home, and he asked this he asked this exact question or actually first Amarendra Prabhu was talking about sincerity. He was saying the same thing. He said sincerity is all we need to have, and then Naveen Krishna Prabhu, who is also a disciple of His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj. So we were talking, and then he was saying that Maharaj once he told them about sincerity and that we should be sincere, we should be serious, and we should not have any ulterior motives, right? So we are doing this selflessly. When we do bhakti, we are doing seva, we are doing selflessly without any ulterior motive to gain something for ourselves or to harm somebody else. So anyway, so he was just giving that briefly, but then he was asking Amarendra Prabhu, because Amarendra Prabhu mentioned about sincerity. So he said, Prabhu, could you please elaborate, what do you mean by sincerity? Then yes, so he was saying that we should, whenever we do something, we should always think of the what, like what is this that I'm doing, and how am I doing, and then why am I doing. So those he said, that is kind of he elaborated a little bit more, which I don't think I'll be able to go into details too much right now, but yeah, he said that was the like the laser focused answer, that what we are doing, how we are doing and why we are doing. I think if we answer those questions ourselves sincerely, we will know what is the meaning of sincerity. That, why I am doing this is to please my Guru Maharaj, please our Guru Parampara. And anything, sometimes we are just in the flow. Basically, he was saying that sometimes, even as devotees, we're just doing things for just doing it, right? Without even understanding why we are doing it, right? So when we understand the why we are doing it, then about the what and the how we are doing it, then that will bring sincerity. Everything should connect back to where we have actually received this from our Guru Parampara. So yeah. Okay, Prabhuji.
And sincerity means I learned from Madan Mohan Prabhuji, because you came very late last night and you took this class. So I don't know. Plus, but I can advise to watch your health, Prabhu. You should take rest. Today you have office and coming late, and just I think you might have slept for 2 to 3 hours only. So yeah, sincerity we should learn from you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, all right, so we'll pause here. Thank you all for your kind association. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Bol.